Good afternoon and welcome to Titan Talk. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Today you have myself, Captain Coop. I will have Captain Roberts with me today. Unfortunately, he had to take care of something, so he'll be a little late. But thanks for joining us. Today we wanted to have a little bit of a conversation about policies and communication. Sometimes we know that talking or understanding about policies can be difficult, and that plays a huge role in what we do and how we act and what we take care of and things like that. And so we wanted to make sure to have a conversation about it because it's important. Policies and procedures that defines what we do, and it defines what you do out in the world and how you interact. And so communication is key in that, and communication is key in everything. Something I tell our NEO officers every week is communication. We survive on it. You know, it's our bread and butter. It's our life force here. Without it, we are nothing. You know, if something's going on and you don't tell somebody, there's no way we can help. And so communication is extremely valuable in that note. So we wanted to have a little bit more of a conversation on it and kind of bring it to light and make sure that we're all under the same understanding and that everybody watching can get it. So we all know that communication is important in work life and personal, and there's nothing wrong with getting better at that because it helps in every way and in every aspect. So thanks for joining us today, and I'm going to give Robert such a hard time, and you guys can too when he gets in. But so understanding the founding principles of it is the foundation is communication and standards, policies, and procedures. It's where everything starts. And so when you get to your site or your property and understanding what you should be doing, where you should be, how you should be interacting with the individuals there, whether it be their staff or their patrons that are coming in, and that way, understanding how that works and reading those SOPs, standard operating procedures, and understanding that stuff. Late to the party. There he is, Mr. Roberts. Yeah. You said start without you, so I did. But understanding those is key. So getting a well-defined understanding of the policies and procedures is key. And so when you first get to those, and it's always a good idea to ask the supervisor who's there, who should be giving you an FTO or training you, or who calls and says, hey, and checks on you. If you've got a question on that stuff, always ask. You know, there's never a bad question when it comes to, hey, what does this mean? How do I interact with this? Or, you know, my procedures say that I've got to do this way. Can you give me a little bit more definition on it? You know, getting that understanding and having that effective communication with it is fantastic. And it's a key point to that to make you the most successful you can be in that notion. And making sure that you understand what's going on. I am going to quickly adjust his camera. I am so sorry.
There you go. What Sasquatch sat here?
I don't think anybody sat there. I just think it's been moved around.
Oh, feel short.
You look short.
Oh.
I had to pull that camera down a little bit and get.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm married, by the way. How's home life?
Great. We're not going to talk about that. I get in a lot of trouble there.
That's fair. What were we? What topic?
Bringing up mastering policies and communication. You know, understanding that when you get to a site and you've never done it before, or maybe you've done 15 or 20 sites. And you know your sites, you've done one site a whole bunch, and you get to a new one and you don't understand a policy or procedure.
Oh, I've got a lot of experience on that.
Right. And your crew has a fantastic display of this because they change around so much. Policies and procedures change. How important that communication is of understanding it. There's no, and it's like I was saying, there's never you can't go wrong by going to a post and you look at the SOP or you get the directive of what you're supposed to be doing, and maybe you get there and you're like, hey, I've been working for 3 years at this one place, and now I'm working this one to cover down. I don't understand this procedure, or I don't understand this policy. Can you explain it to me? There's never a bad time to do that. Getting that communication and effectively doing that and getting that information only makes you better. Not only does it make you better work related, but knowing how to do that helps you personally. So it's all about growth. And that's the big thing that we want for not just our officers, but for everybody who watches this and hopefully gaining something from this podcast is growth. We have our fun, don't get me wrong, but a lot of what we want to bring up is growth and making yourself better in work related and personal.
I think the having a basic understanding of our...
Wrong button. There we go.
And I thought you were professional.
Dude, you know what? I have my moments.
Having a base understanding of our big policies and procedures, like use of force, de-escalation, when to use force, or when to let someone go, when to stop somebody, when to not. If you have a good understanding of the baseline, you're good anywhere.
Yeah.
The rest is nuanced. It's like, I apologize. That's for this post. I'll correct it moving forward. If the manager walks up and says something. But I was QRT or a PRN at the time, so I was getting sent
everywhere,
anywhere from an HOA pool to an apartment complex to a store,
grocery store,
big one,
anything.
Big one was store. A lot of the stores have some nuanced rules. Most of them don't check bags. There's one that checks bags. So anytime I showed up to a permanent post, my go-to was, okay, especially the stores. I don't see any kind of a binder for me to look at. Okay, I'll figure this out. It's a store. I'll go up to customer service. Hi, I'm Officer Roberts. This is my first time at this store. Are there anything? Is there anything different that I need to know? Any key issues? Any problems that keep reoccurring that you need me to look at? Anything the other officers are not doing that you'd like me to do? I'm here to make your day better and make you feel safer. I've gotten
fantastic responses.
Responses.
If you'd come up to me and said that, I'd be like, dude, welcome.
Yeah.
Can you stay?
Yeah. I think one of my biggest compliments that I received was at a store, and I showed up, gave that exact same speech, like, hey, this is my first time at this store. Is there anything that you need me to do? Is there anything the officers aren't doing that you'd like me to do? And I was told, yeah, just in the middle of the store, there's a sushi bar. Just go ahead and sit there, and then every 30 minutes or so, just walk around. I was up every 15 minutes, and I would spend time at the front of the store where most of the staff was, and I would stay there.
Yeah.
And I would stand there, and I would make sure that those people felt safe. And during one of my rounds, I had the customer service lady stop me and was like, hey, you're the best officer we've had in a very long time. And I'm just like, and I looked at her and I said, I'm sorry. It's like, what do you mean I'm giving you a compliment? It's like, I'm doing the bare minimum.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But that's the communication piece that I was talking about is where you go there and maybe there's not an SOP binder, or maybe it's not updated. Maybe it's an old one that we're getting updated later, getting the updates soon. Who knows, for any reason. That communication piece where you go to the customer service and you're like, hey, how can I help you? What's something that I can do as your security officer to make your day better? What's something, what are the pain points for you? What are things that, those items there, that's that effective communication. When you get to one of those posts, you could be doing a post for 30 days. You could be there for 3 months. There's nothing wrong with going and having that communication or calling your supervisor and saying, hey, what are the pain points for this area?
Absolutely.
I've been to 15 or 20 different stores. This one's new to me. What's different about this one? Is this the same as everything else, or is there some nuance I don't know? And getting that information, and because that's going to make you better not only for that store, but it's going to help you learn and grow. Mr. Beatty had a perfect verbiage for it, self-development.
What are you doing, Beatty? Get out of here.
Beatty, I hope you're either on the way home or dealing with your stuff, please. If you don't need to be here, please don't be here. I'm concerned. I want you to take care of you. Anyway, and that brings in a ripple effect. The impact of those changes and the impact of that conversation will change the complete narrative of how that staff or those patrons interact with you. That will completely change how everything goes that day.
And you don't need to be a wordsmith to come up with the perfect line to put yourself in good graces with management. A quick, hey, what do you need me to do? Is good. Hey,
gotta support my boys. Swear, baby.
I think Deputy Chief Rosas in some of our QRT meetings is like, hey, is there an adult I can talk to? It's like, hey, is there a manager?
I would find it better than that, but yeah.
is there a manager I can talk to real quick? You don't need to be a wordsmith to put yourself in good graces. Just asking, what do you need me to do today is good enough. Now, don't walk up and say, I don't know what I'm doing.
Then that's where where you say wordsmith, that's where that comes in. That's effective communication. You know, when you get up in there, when you get to that site, when you talk to those managers, you talk to the staff, when you're doing that, how can I help make your day better? What can I do different? You know, the normal staff does this. That's great. What do I need to do to make you feel safer?
Yep.
You know, that's that communication. And like you said, you don't have to be a wordsmith. It doesn't have to be this grandeur thing. It doesn't have to be this long, big words used. I always call them the $25 words. You don't need that stuff. Keep it simple. This is the first time I'm at this location. I've been to a few other stores while I've worked with this company. Is there anything that you want me to pay attention to? Is there anything in particular that's a pain point for you guys that you want my attention on? And that alone will change everything. That will make them feel 100% better with you being there as their security for that day. You know, and it could wind up being that, hey, you get there, you say that one thing, and you do a fantastic job, and the client calls and says, I want that guy back every day.
Yep. The thing that I say to most of my QRTs when we're going through the orientation, the hiring process, is if I send you somewhere and they tell me, hey, when's our normal officer coming back? We've got a massive issue. I expect other officers to look at you and say, oh, supervisor's here to see me. Not, oh, there's my relief.
Yeah. That's exactly it. But I mean, that's the standard I want for everybody. You know, when any one of our officers walks in, and realistically, I'd like that for every security officer out in the world. When somebody walks in and goes, "That's a supervisor," you know, that's somebody who cares.
Yeah,
you know, that's what I want for everybody. You know, I want them to see that when they walk in. I want a patron to walk in and see that security officer and go, "That guy's here for safety. That guy's here. That's my security officer." You know, I want them to be proud to be there. You know, we're there. That's a big thing that we tell our officers, and you're there to enhance. You're there to make people feel safe. You're not there to be a hindrance, you know. But when you do that stuff with that good communication, it absolutely changes how everything works. A prime example, I'm one known for years, a long time ago, I was known for bad communication. I've had issues with it, and it's been my biggest pain point, you know, is learning effective communication and how to broach that and make it better. You know, I'm not the best. I'm not the best talker. A prime example was the podcast. When we started this, I was absolutely all over the place with this, you know, and I've had to learn a whole lot on how to structure this and be better with communication and make this presentable. But in the field, it's just as important, if not more important, to have that where you can sit there and you can have that communication and you can take what your brain thinks, sometimes it's not always the best, and restructure it even just a little bit.
And that's
what it comes down to. Sometimes that's all it takes is you have a question in your brain, and then you think to yourself, how do I say that? And it goes from, I have no idea what I'm doing, to, hey, this is the first time I've been to your location. Is there anything pain point wise that you would like me to focus on? That difference right there is massive, you know, because it takes it from the staff looking at you going, you have no idea what you're doing, to, okay, he's asking what in particular we need here, you know, and that changes everything.
And that's what we like to call verbal judo, is being able to catch yourself and steer the conversation in a direction that is advantageous for you. Mm-hmm. It'll help with a client. It'll help with a manager. It'll help with an upset employee. It'll help with somebody who's not supposed to be there, and you're trying to escort them off property.
It'll help with anything. I mean, if you're able to effectively communicate, even changing your verbiage just a little bit, if you've got an irate subject there who just doesn't want to listen, if you can calm them down just a little bit with that, it absolutely changes the narrative and how that's going to play out. MH has a perfect one. It's an adage I haven't heard in forever, so thank you for that memory. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Mm-hmm. There's not a better adage for that. That alone right there. You just keep it simple, and that will change. All you got to do is change a couple of words, change how you say it, tone, verbiage, little things like that will actually change everything about it. Are you okay over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't lock the seat back.
You know, but so that's how you take those things and make yourself better and bring that stuff up. Looking into that, how do you integrate that into your daily routine? You know, how do you bring that better communication into not just what you do for a living, but into your personal lives? That communication will change everything in your personal life if you can effectively communicate better.
Yeah. I think I would say my communication was not the best before yes, it was worse at one point. I think my communication was not the best before I started a professional career. And there were times where my relationship with my wife suffered because I couldn't properly articulate what I was trying to say.
Dude, absolutely. Been
Yeah.
there more than once.
And since I've been, I mean, I talk to 20 officers a day. I talk to clients. I talk to bosses. I'm constantly using communication to put myself in a better position, and that has done wonders for when my wife comes a knocking.
Yeah, it's crazy to think how something as simple as communication can change everything about you. You know, Joe has a book that he recommended. I personally haven't read it, but I'm going to look into it. He says I read the book Emotional Intelligence, and it's helped me out. I was given one recommended to me by a friend, a dear friend of mine. I would say family at this point. It's called The Daily Stoic, and it's 1 page a day, and it's got a page for every day of the year.
Yeah.
And it has, I think I've read it twice now, and I'm going to read it again. I don't read it 1 page a day. I can't. There's some of them that are just too good. And but it just sucks me in. And then I just keep reading and keep reading and keep reading. And next thing I know, I'm from page 1 to page 50. I'm like, oh, I was supposed to stop 49 pages ago. But
I guess I don't have to read for the next 50 days.
yeah, but I mean, just reading that alone has changed my outlook a little bit, and has helped me with communicating a little bit better, because it's changed how I think about things, you know, and it's made me pause in moments where it's like, hey, I need to get this information out real quick. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute, think about what you're going to say first and then say it, you know. And it brings me down to a level to where I can logically understand what I'm doing, and instead of just blurting information out and potentially upsetting everybody around me, it's like, hold on, wait a minute now. Think about what you're going to say.
It's never too late, or you're too experienced, or any other excuse you can come up with. It's never too late to do some self-reflection or read a book, an article, something that is placed out there for people to digest and reflect on and make themselves better. It is never too late to make yourself better.
That same friend, one of the things he always says is never stop learning, you know. And when you read stuff like that, or and not necessarily self-help books, but when you're reading something that's different, than it's out of your norm, you know, and you're learning from it, that's fantastic, because you never stop learning, which means you're always growing. And as you're growing those skills, not only will it help you when your work life, it'll help you in your personal life. Like you said, it's a prime example of it. Once you started communicating better here, it started helping you communicate better at home.
Oh yeah.
And none of us are perfect. We all have that. I've had that issue with with exes in the past, where I don't communicate well. I can think of a prime example. I picked up a shift, and because I wanted some extra income, I couldn't explain that correctly. We had some stuff planned. It was going to cause me to be late. I made her angry, and I couldn't communicate why it was important, not just professionally, but why personally it was going to make a huge impact in our lives and change how we were able to do a few things by me picking up those few hours at that one particular post. Yep. And it did. That absolutely changed everything. You know, that made a huge difference for me professionally, and it made a huge difference for me personally. But I couldn't effectively communicate that for a couple of weeks until my paycheck, it was like a week when my paycheck dropped. And then it was like, oh, okay, well, that makes more sense. Now it's like, well, that's what I was trying to say. It's like, well, you didn't make that clear. My bad. But like you, when I got into a position where communication was 100% of what I do,
yep.
You know, when I took over into being a supervisor, and when I took over into being into scheduling, communication was 100% everything.
Bread and butter.
Everything.
You need to have effective communication if you're going to schedule.
I had to learn, and I had to learn quick. There was no no curve. It was an instant curve. And I'll tell you what, dude, it was rough.
Oh, I believe it.
My first
I see you now.
Yeah. My first 6 months of learning how to be a better communicator was rough. And everybody was mad at me, and not like really angry, but it was like, dude, you got to talk better. And I'm like, I'm trying. And they're like, are you? Yes, I promise I am.
Hey, you work Monday.
But I mean, it was learning how to talk to officers and learning how to talk to clients and supervisors and explain, hey, this is why I'm asking you to do this. This isn't just me sitting here saying you're going to do this. Hey, this is why I'm asking. I wouldn't ask any other reason.
Hey, I'm in a really tight spot.
Right. Here's the understanding of what I'm asking. It's not just here's the meat and potatoes. Here's a little bit of the sides. Give some explanation and explain it and show behind the curtain, I guess is what do you say it, and bring them in on the fold on that.
Yeah, I've noticed that tends to be really effective is when you open up and you explain things.
But so I mean, when you're talking about that and you're bringing that stuff up, learning that stuff, and like you said, it's never too late to learn that stuff. It's never too late to read and grow and better yourself. I've been doing this. I think I'm going into my 12th year. I don't even remember now. That's how long I've been doing this for me. And I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I just started reading The Daily Stoic a year ago. And that's probably going to get me in trouble because I've had that book for a while. But I just really started reading it a year ago, and then I really dove back into it recently. And I've got another book. I can't remember the title of it. It's a learning self-defense book, not like actual like self-defense martial arts type thing, but it helps your brain. It helps with thought process and understanding. And I started reading that book recently as well, and it's fantastic. And I think to myself, why didn't I do this sooner? Why did I wait? Is really what it comes in my brain is the first thing I think. It's like, I don't understand why I waited, because this is fantastic information and it's helped me so much.
Outside of communication, what other aspects of being in security have you taken outside of work and seen a positive effect?
Funny enough, there's a couple of policies that we use here that have absolutely changed how I interact with people out in the world.
Yeah.
A big thing that we do is distance. So we tell everybody that when you're talking to somebody or you've got an irate person, distance is your friend. Distance provides time, and time is your ally. And ever since I've learned what the true value of that was, that's been a thing for me. I've taken it home, and when I go out in the world, I don't let people get within a certain distance of me, because I want to make sure that I have distance. So if somebody goes off, I can get away or I can get space. And so that's completely changed how I interact with people. It completely changes. And it's fantastic because I've run across a couple of, in my personal life, more than a few angry people for whatever reason. Sometimes at me, sometimes not. And that distance has absolutely put me in a better position. And so having that, it's changed. And there are other smaller policies that I use with communication in tandem that have changed how I interact with people and have made my life a lot better.
I think I'd say the one that has affected my life outside of work the most is observation. When you're at a post,
I never would have considered that. It's a good one.
You're supposed to be constantly observing, watching your surroundings, watching other people, watching their surroundings. And I have noticed myself taking that outside of work, and I have caught quite a bit. Just I'm in a restaurant and I'm looking around and I'm just observing things, and I'll catch things that I otherwise never would have caught. I think that has had a very strong impact outside of work, is just my observation.
It's funny.
Keeping tabs on people.
You say that, and I think that I never would have considered observation, just because it just automatically integrated into me.
Yeah.
Because I've always been a little bit like keep an eye on everybody type of thing, because I always want to know where everybody is around me. I don't like getting people getting too close. And as I've got into this industry, it's made that I've been made more aware of people now, of their locations and stuff. But I will say observation has changed my driving. Keeping an eye on other drivers and how they interact with people around them, how they're interacting with me. That's absolutely changed how I do everything when it comes to driving.
Oh, yeah.
Positive impact, 100%. And it's absolutely been one of the best things for me. I think that I could have come across was that. And so that's observation's fantastic. Key point there.
Yeah.
All right. So what is what's an impact that you've seen that you've taken with besides communication, with policies or procedure, anything like that? What's an impact you've seen in your personal life outside of observation?
I would say one of the things I like to tell people, especially when they're joining QRT, is first and foremost, I need integrity. Everything else can be coached. First and foremost, I need integrity. If you do not have integrity, you're not going to make it. And I have started taking that to people I know outside of work, and it has made my life significantly better. Hey, you're not the best influence, but when it comes down to it, even when you don't want to, you make the right decision. That's all I can ask for anybody in my life is first and foremost integrity. And I didn't start thinking about that until I became a supervisor.
You don't think about how much of a role that plays in both professional and personal when you're not a supervisor. But that's a key. That's another great one right there.
Yep.
When you're talking to friends and family, you can really see how some of those little things will change everything. And fantastic point right there. Love it. Good one.
Well, thank you.
I hate giving you credit.
I know. I see the pain on your face.
But no, and that's a good one. All of that's key points. And again, integrity goes back to growing, because those are things when you start keeping people accountable for that stuff, it will help you in your personal life, not just your professional, because it allows you to see things for what they really are, and it allows you to grow as a person, it allows you to grow in our industry in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're holding people accountable for that stuff, and so it makes everything different, and it's fantastic.
It has.
I
happened.
thought I hit that button.
It has happened.
I thought I hit that button. That's twice.
Wow.
Actually, that's 3 times total.
Slacker.
That's fine. At least I wasn't late.
I warned you. You also told me 2 hours ago.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. In the wise words of Tony Kavist.
Tony, if you're watching. It kind of goes back, and we can kind of bring this back to training and in supervision. Bringing that human side back to it, where you're reading and you're learning, and that's part of training and growing. If you're not thinking like a supervisor, you should be, because that's where you're going to get the most out of it. If I was a supervisor, how would I want my guy to act while I'm here? And bringing that in and changing the way you look at things to the way you act when you're there, and that plays back into personal lives as well.
If I was a supervisor, how would I want me acting?
Yeah.
Hold yourself accountable.
To that standard.
Yeah, the standard that you hold yourself, it not only will others notice it, but higher ups will 100% notice it. If you set yourself to a high standard, especially higher than most people, you will be noticed very quickly.
Yep. So, but keeping those things in mind and playing back to them, those are the key points there. That's really all I got for that. Just keep an eye on that. If you're not continually learning, then you need to. And like I said, I recently myself started, and the first thing I think to myself is, why didn't I do this sooner? Because it changed everything. Bringing those things home, how I use them, allowed me to change a lot of what I am, a lot of how I interact, and a lot of who I am.
Leon is ancient. He's got an exam coming up. He doesn't stop learning
ever,
and he's probably got the most knowledge out of everybody.
Yeah. He's the one who always tells me, keep learning.
It is never too late.
Yep. So on that note, we're going to cut over to the weather, and then we will let you guys get back to it so you can enjoy your weekend. If he's watching, you're going to pay for that, by the way.
Oh, I know.
So with the weather, we're looking at 78 today with some rain. It's been a nice little dreary day. And then we've got Saturday, partly cloudy, 85. Sunday, 84 with some sunshine. That's the day to mow your grass. Monday, 78, partly cloudy. Tuesday, 79, same. Wednesday, 83, same. Thursday, 84. Friday, 79, bringing us back to the weekend in the 80s. So looking like it's going to be a moderately normal week with weather. So thank goodness for
Fingers
that.
crossed. I'm getting real sick of the heat. Real sick of it.
Well, there's a good reason you are. You should probably get that fixed.
Yeah. My car does not have AC. And I have to occasionally drive my child home.
And he suffers with it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's funny. My first vehicle didn't have AC. We had power windows.
Yeah. I'm just too lazy.
Down.
I don't like spending money. That's all it is.
Other than that, guys, we're going to let you get back to it. We thank you again for joining us. We appreciate everything you guys do. It allows us to continue to do stuff like this and help you guys out and hopefully help us. Thank you again. I can't say that enough. We appreciate everything. Don't forget hydration. Hydration is key. Hydration is the day before, not the day of. Thanks, guys. We enjoy it. Enjoy your weekend. Wow. Ready for my weekend. Yeah. Enjoy your weekend, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Stay safe.
Peace.